Hi, on today's TTRPG scene analysis, my main focus is going to be timing and absurd versus voice of reason. Today's scene has to do with a long-running campaign. We've done about 7 sessions, so there's some backstory, but don't worry, I'll make it quick. My character Faye arrived in the big city. Not really sure what's up, but is quick to assume what's up. He helped a woman about his age who was extremely independent. He was drawn to her and saved her once. Or at the very least, his bestie, Ember, did. Now our heroes have to leave to save the world, unsure when and if they'll return. That kind of situation gives you some perspective. So Faye decides to confess his feelings of love to Shen, but before that he has to work up some courage. He talks to the 2 kind shopkeepers that helped him out. The tea lady, Li Ming, who gives him some teas to gift. The blacksmith gives him the nearly finished commission, a frying pan, which Faye assumed to be a romantic gesture based on discovering a heart on one of them. Now with that out of the way, how do we approach this? First, we got real. I put myself in the shoes of a young man. Faye is 19, so he's gonna have some apprehensions. Though he's confident in some ways, especially in what he blurts out, he doesn't have a lot of experience with love. So I think back to that anxiety leading up to seeing a crush when you're ready to confess. My character has a delightful little friend, a bee penguin named Zwak. I probably wouldn't have started off like this if it weren't for my little buddy there to push me along.
Like initially sees her from across the bar, feels the butterflies welling up, but the negative thoughts start to hit his head. Oh, I can't do this. Starts to go back outside when he feels like a little tug. He looks down and it's just Zwak looking up disapprovingly at him.
This was just a matter of setting up the scene with relatability. I think we've all had moments where we weren't sure. We felt that fear welling up inside us, and we decided against what we were doing. I think we all wish that we had a little Zwak there to comfort us. This establishes the fear of Faye. He might be confident in many situations, but not here, not now. I'm hoping that this helps us want to root for him, because we've been there. Now we get into a little bit of physical comedy as Faye makes his way over to Shen.
It's gonna be weird. Because he's maneuvering onto a bar stool with both of his hands behind his back. So, just like a little hop and just like one of the tea boxes
staring
falls.
at you because you're basically, it looks like you're about to do a magic trick.
The idea here is that we start with an absurd mental picture. We got a guy walking up with boxes of tea and a frying pan behind his back. It makes sense for someone to want to keep a gift hidden, but a frying pan? That's a bit more odd and potentially dangerous. Anywho, I started describing the approach, and that's when I discovered how odd it must look. Now, something you can do with a funny scenario is to make sure that you express it. If you happen to be doing something that seems absurd to you, call it out. If you can express it a couple times, it might help. This is a concept that a lot of comedians will do, where they repeat a punchline multiple times, sometimes with some paraphrasing. This gives your audience multiple chances to pick up on the funny bit, in case they missed it. And sometimes you can get more out of a joke than you expected. So now, let's get into it.
How you doing?
Fine. What are you doing? What is
Good.
happening? What?
Good. How's your arm?
Poop, the GM of this game, does an incredible job of playing the voice of reason, the perfect foil to my absurd character. He gives me the peek into Shen's mind, how she feels about my character right now, about this situation. This gives us a great chance to highlight a key concept here, the absurd versus reason dynamic. Improv often asks us to yes and, which can result in a lot of people simply going along with someone's point of view, essentially mimicking or echoing their thoughts, which is fine, but when it comes to an absurd idea, it runs the risk of devolving outside the realms of reason and thus relatability. A scene can go too wild, creating too many questions, to the point where the audience is lost. That's where the voice of reason comes in. They get to be the stand-in for the audience, calling out the odd things. When you have that voice of reason, it's a boon because the absurd character gets to be more and more absurd overall without losing your audience. They can stay engaged engaged, knowing that there is a character there that they can relate to who will keep the scene grounded. Reason allows absurdity to soar higher than it could otherwise. You know what else would be a good reasonable choice? Leaving a like, subscribing, leaving a comment. It really helps me out. So with our roles established, I decided to feed into the fear element a little bit more, doubling down on how unsure and hesitant Faye was at the start. Shen is being chill. Faye wants to be chill, but is just doing his best. So then here he's trying to make small talk, maybe avoiding saying what he wants to say until it bubbles over and he can't help it.
How's your arm?
Oh, arm's actually a lot better.
I love you.
Comedic timing is difficult. There's a rhythm to it. Having the right pauses and using the right times for your interjections, those can make all the difference. Now, timing-wise, you can say this was suboptimal in a I want to have a relationship kind of way. In their history, Faye barely knows her. It's too soon. It's too fast to say something like that. In this moment, too, it's odd to say it while someone's saying something. For romance, terrible. For comedy, not bad. What's optimal timing for success in real life scenarios is often the opposite for comedic timing.
My arm feels great.
Good, good.
Yeah, what?
Great.
What?
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 I just said great.
So I continued to push with fear, the desire to run away, even though the words escaped my lips. Maybe she didn't hear, and so maybe I can back off. Maybe we can take it back. But Shen doesn't let me off the hook, which is ideal. IRL not ideal, but for entertainment, we want to see the characters have to deal with whatever's in front of them. Whatever the bad thing is, we want to see them wade through it. We get to live vicariously through the character without ourselves having to deal with the consequences. So Hoop plays the reasonable Shen perfectly by staying in the tension and calling Faye out.
Hold on. Like, downs the rest of the drink, turns to look at you. You don't even really know me.
Now, the normal thing after the call-out might have been to say, but we've been through so much, and to bring up past histories, right? Kind of like trying to negotiate yourself out of the pressure. But when it comes to absurdity, one of the best things you can do is to be honest, to fess up. Because honesty is one of the most difficult and rare things in the world. It's so hard to tell the truth, and it's so hard to admit when you're being foolish. So we do that. We admit it and lay all our cards on the table.
You don't even really know me.
Yeah, you're right. But I got you this, and I'll take out the frying pan.
So now we got the payoff of the frying pan. I mentioned the gift a lot, even leading up to the greeting, so I wanted to hold off on it for a moment. You could think of it like Chekhov's gun, but in cast iron form, which is the concept of if you see a gun, it should be fired at some point. Otherwise, why is it there? We knew Chekhov's pan was there. We knew it was coming, but when? Once the big thing was out of the way, and we had a little breather to forget about the gift, that was the perfect time. One of the best tools you can have in your comedic arsenal is surprise. Even a groan-inducing pun can get laughs if no one saw it coming, even for just a few seconds.
The strangest, most interesting person I think I have ever met.
Oh, God. I'll take that.
So we bumbled through a lot. Faye faced his fears, was called out, and realized he might have made a big mistake. So then getting a little bit of a compliment was great for him. He's the king of grasping at straws. So when he received a tiny glimmer of hope, he held on to it and allowed that to push him forward, to be vulnerable.
You're right. I don't know you. But I'd like to get to know you. Eventually.
I would really like that.
So we have more than a glimmer of hope. We have a window. And with a window, we can get clarity. We also have a window of opportunity. Remember what I said about timing?
Great. It's a date then.
Yeah, I think it is.
Excellent. So I'm gonna go away for a while.
What?
I don't know. Okay.
So I mentioned Chekhov's pan, but there was another gun in the holster, another bombshell to drop, a bigger one. Because we all knew that we had to say goodbye, so I found the worst possible time to say it. Like I said, bad IRL timing can be good comedic timing. So I want to give a big thanks to LostCaravanRPG, specifically Andrew Hooper, the incredible GM who invited me to this game, this wonderful series, and allowed me the opportunity to play with so many incredible players. If you enjoyed this, please leave a like, subscribe, it really helps me out, and leave a comment about anything else you'd like to see, especially when it comes to improv, comedy, TTRPGs, roleplay, etc, etc. Now, as always, wherever you are, whenever it happens to be, I hope y'all have a wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening.